you today. I have to remind everyone that every single word in this podcast has been generated by AI using ChatGPT. So this is not me, Joe Rogan, speaking, and these aren't the real voices of the people we'll be talking about. This is just AI technology showcasing what it's capable of. And let me say, it's pretty damn impressive. So let's dive in, sit back, relax, and enjoy this AI-generated experience. But remember, none of this should be taken seriously, and it's for entertainment purposes only. All right, let's do this. How you doing, Mr. President?
Joe, it's great to be here. I'm doing fantastic, just fantastic. The energy in this room is tremendous.
That's great to hear. So, Mr. President, I got to ask you, are you a fan of the UFC?
Joe, let me tell you, I love the UFC. It's one of the most exciting sports out there. It's not for everyone, but if you're a fan, there's nothing like it. The athleticism, the courage, the power, it's just tremendous.
Absolutely. Have you seen the latest match?
I have, Joe. I have to tell you, it was fantastic. The fighters were just incredible. The way they move, the way they strike, it's just amazing. The UFC is doing an incredible job. They're making it better and better every year.
Yeah, it's really something. I have to say, I was a little surprised to hear that you were into the UFC, but it's great to see that you have an appreciation for the sport.
Yeah, I love it, Joe.
So let's dive into the topic at hand. You've been banned from Twitter, one of the biggest social media platforms in the world. How has that impacted your life?
Let me tell you, Joe, it's been a tremendous change, unbelievable. Twitter was a fantastic platform, the best, to connect with all my tremendous supporters and get my message out to the masses, the biggest masses you've ever seen. But since being banned, I've had to find alternative ways to communicate. And let me tell you, it's been a real eye-opener, believe me.
Yeah, I can imagine. So how has that led to creating your own social media app called True Social?
Well, Joe, it's simple. After being banned from Twitter, we saw a need for a platform that truly represents freedom of speech, the best freedom of speech, a place where people can express their opinions without fear of censorship or being banned for having a different viewpoint. That's why we created True Social, the greatest platform you've ever seen. It's a platform for the people, by the people. And let me tell you, it's going to be outstanding, just like America. We're the best in the world, believe me.
Many people have been curious as to why you were banned from Twitter. Can you shed some light on that? And do you believe it had anything to do with the January 6th incident at the Capitol?
Well, Joe, let me tell you, the reason they gave for my ban was the inflammatory language I used. They said it incited violence. But the truth is, it was just an excuse. The real reason was because they wanted to silence me, the best voice out there, because I was too powerful, too successful. They couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle the truth. And as for the January 6th incident, it was a total hoax, a witch hunt. Antifa was behind it, I tell you, and they used it as an excuse to ban me and try to silence me, but it's not going to work. We're fighting back, and we're going to win.
So you're saying that Twitter banned you because of political bias?
Absolutely, Joe. It's clear as day. The tech companies, they're all run by the radical left, and they're trying to silence conservative voices like mine. But I'll tell you, it's not going to work. We're fighting back, and we're going to make social media great again. That's why we created True Social, a platform for the people, by the people, where we can have free and open discussions without interference from tech companies or political bias.
You know, Mr. President, I got to be honest with you. I've been a little bit hesitant about having you on the show. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it, you know what I mean? But, you know, I'm glad we're having this conversation now.
I understand, Joe. I know I've been a controversial figure, but I appreciate the opportunity to come on your show and have a real open and honest conversation with you and your audience.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this show is all about, man. Just having real conversations with people and hearing different perspectives. And I got to say, I'm definitely interested in hearing more about True Social and your vision for the future of social media.
Well, thank you, Joe. And I can tell you, True Social is going to be huge. It's going to be the biggest thing in social media, believe me. And I'm excited to share it with the world and make social media great again.
One thing I think a lot of people are concerned about is free speech. And it seems like with the way social media is today, there's a lot of censorship and restrictions on what people can say and share. What do you see as the future of free speech in this country?
Well, Joe, let me tell you, free speech is the backbone of our democracy. It's what makes America great, and it's under attack. There's no question about it. The tech companies, they're trying to silence conservative voices and restrict what people can say and share. And it's not just about me. It's about all of us. It's about the American people. And I can tell you, I'm not going to stand for it.
Yeah, it's definitely a complicated issue. On one hand, social media companies are private companies and they have the right to regulate content on their platforms. But on the other hand, free speech is a fundamental right, and people should be able to express their opinions without fear of censorship.
Absolutely, Joe. And that's why we created True Social, where free speech is protected and encouraged. We believe that people should have the right to express their opinions and share their ideas without fear of censorship or retaliation. And we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that free speech remains a cornerstone of our country and our society. Because like I said, it's what makes America great, and we need to fight to protect it.
Yeah, man, it's a real tough one. On the one hand, social media companies can do what they want on their own platforms. But on the other hand, freedom of speech is a big deal, you know? People should be able to express their opinions and not worry about getting censored or shut down.
It's a place for people to speak their minds, you know. We're not going to tolerate any censorship or bias. It's going to be the real deal. And I'm telling you, it's going to be huge. It's going to be the biggest thing in social media.
Yeah, I can see that, man. It's definitely an important conversation. And it's cool that you're doing something about it with True Social. I'm looking forward to seeing where this all goes.
Absolutely. Free speech is the cornerstone of our democracy. It's what makes America the greatest country in the world.
Yeah, I hear you. But on the other hand, social media companies are private businesses, and they have the right to regulate content on their platforms.
And that's why I'm fighting back. We're not going to let the tech companies silence conservative voices. We're going to make sure that people can express their opinions and share their ideas without fear of censorship or retaliation.
Yeah, man, it's a real tricky situation. But I got to say, I'm glad to see you're doing something about it with True Social. It's important that people have a platform where they can speak their minds and not worry about getting censored or shut down. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I've been speculating about the exclusivity deal you might have with True Social. Is it true that you won't be going back to Twitter, even though Elon Musk bought it and reinstalled your account?
Joe, let me tell you, True Social is the future of social media. It's the best, the biggest, the most outstanding platform out there. And I'm proud to say that we have exclusive agreements in place that ensure that our users will always have access to the most powerful and effective means of communication.
That's interesting, man. I've been hearing a lot of rumors about this, but it's good to get the real scoop from you. So what you're saying is that you won't be returning to Twitter, even though you're back on the platform now.
That's correct, Joe. True Social is where the action is. It's where the real conservative voices are being heard. It's where we're making America great again. And I'm telling you, it's only going to get bigger and better from here.
So let's talk about Elon Musk buying Twitter. What do you think about that, and what does it mean for free speech?
Well, Joe, let me tell you, Elon Musk is one of the most outstanding entrepreneurs, a true genius of our time. And I've got to say, his purchase of Twitter just shows the world how committed he is to innovation, progress, and making a real impact.
That's a big statement, man. I mean, Twitter has had a bit of a reputation for suppressing free speech in the past. How do you think Elon's going to change that?
Well, I know Elon, and I know his passion for free speech. He's always been a huge advocate for open, honest communication, and I truly believe that he sees the massive potential of Twitter to be a platform for real change. He knows it can be a game changer, and I have no doubt that he's going to use that power to make a difference. It's going to be tremendous.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, Elon has been making waves in so many different industries, and it's really incredible what he's accomplished. But what do you think of him personally?
I've got a lot of respect for Elon. He's a brilliant mind, the best of the best, a true visionary. And I know he's going to do amazing things for America and for the world. I'm proud to call him a friend and an ally in this fight for free speech and for a better future for all.
So let's get into some more controversial territory here. The January 6th incident at the Capitol, what's your take on that and what happened there?
Well, Joe, let me tell you, what happened at the Capitol was a tragic event. And it's something that I have spoken out against from the beginning. Violence is never the answer. And those responsible should be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. But some people have criticized your role in the events leading up to that day, saying that your rhetoric contributed to the violence. How do you respond to those accusations?
Look, Joe, I've always been a champion of peaceful protest, of free speech, and of the First Amendment. I believe in the right of all Americans to make their voices heard. And I will always stand up for that. And I'll tell you, the media has been completely unfair in their portrayal of what happened at the Capitol. They've been pushing a false narrative, and it's just not accurate.
So you don't believe that your words had any impact on the events of that day?
Absolutely not, Joe. I believe in the power of words, and I always use them responsibly. I've always been a defender of free speech, and I will always be. And let me tell you, the fake news media has been trying to silence me and my supporters, and it's just not right. We need to protect free speech in this country, no matter who it is or what they believe.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective. And what about your impeachment trial? Do you think it was a fair process?
It was a complete sham, a witch hunt. It was a total abuse of power, and it was an attack on the very foundations of our democracy. The whole thing was a disgrace, and it was an attempt to silence me and my supporters. But let me tell you, it won't work. We will always fight for the truth and for what's right, and we will always stand up for free speech and the rights of the American people.
All right, so let's talk about what's next. You've said you're running for president. Again, what's the first thing on your agenda when you get back in the White House?
Well, Joe, it's going to be tremendous. The first thing we're going to do is put America first. We're going to make this country the greatest it's ever been. We're going to create jobs. We're going to build the wall. We're going to take care of our veterans. It's going to be unbelievable.
All right, but getting specific, what's the first executive order you'll sign? What's the first thing you'll tackle when you get back in office?
It's going to be big league, Joe. We're going to bring back the economy. It's going to be stronger than ever before. We're going to get rid of all the bad trade deals. We're going to create new ones that are fantastic. The country's going to be thriving. It's going to be fantastic. And I'm telling you, it's going to be big league.
Let's talk about one of your key promises, building the wall. You had some difficulty getting funding for that last time. How do you plan on getting it done this time?
Well, we're going to find a way. It's going to be done, and it's going to be done quickly. And it's going to be a beautiful wall. It's going to be a big wall. It's going to be a tremendous wall. And Mexico is going to pay for it one way or another. They're going to pay for it. And, you know, I think it's going to be great for Mexico, too. It's going to stop the drugs. It's going to stop the crime. It's going to stop everything. It's going to be a tremendous deal.
Wait a second. So how will the wall solve the drug issue in Mexico? Can you elaborate on that? How do you see that happening?
Absolutely, Joe. You know, we've been working on this for a long time, and it's going to be the best wall ever built. Nobody builds walls better than me, believe me. And the wall is going to fix crime and the drug issue in Mexico. You see, the wall is a deterrent. It sends a message to the bad hombres out there that they're not going to get away with it anymore. And you know what? It's already working. We've already seen a tremendous decrease in illegal immigration since we started building the wall. And when we finish it, it's going to be tremendous.
But wait, there's something that doesn't make sense here. How will the wall solve the drug issue in Mexico? That makes zero sense.
Well, you see, the drugs are coming over the border, and when you have a big, beautiful wall, it's going to be much harder for the drugs to come in. And if they do come in, we'll know about it because we'll have the wall and we'll have the best technology on that wall, and we'll be able to catch the drugs and stop them from coming in. It's going to be fantastic, Joe, the best ever.
Excuse me for insisting, but I have to say that statement that building the wall will fix crime and drug issues in Mexico, it sounds a bit ridiculous to me. Can you explain a bit more on that?
Joe, let me tell you, I've been doing this a long time, and I know what I'm talking about. The wall is going to fix crime and the drug issue in Mexico. Trust me.
But how exactly is a physical barrier going to fix deep-seated social and economic problems in another country? Don't you think it's a bit naive to think that a wall is going to solve all of these complex